Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome. This is George Swift from Bigger, Brighter, Bolder. This is the Leveling Up podcast. The Leveling Up podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desire. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else, the challenge, your aspiration to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. And in this episode, I'm taking you all the way back to episode 41, where we were talking about working hard, not smart, and I called bullshit on that. In fact, there's many things out there that I call bullshit on. Often, it's just repeated concepts and ideas masquerading as conventional wisdom, masquerading as good business practice. This whole concept of working hard, not smart. I'm not sure when it kicked off, but there was an era where suddenly it wasn't about grafting, it wasn't about getting your hands dirty or getting calluses. It was about working smart and being smart. And somehow if you worked hard enough, you used to be able to get the result. But now, you know what? You didn't have to work hard anymore. You could cheat your way to success. Just like you can cheat yourself to good health and cheat yourself to having a relationship, and you can cheat yourself to financial fortunes. Well, we know this is not true. If you've got any years under your belt at all, you know you can't cheat anything like that. You're going to have to graft, you're going to have to work hard. But suddenly it's sold well. This whole idea that you could have something for nothing, or you could somehow get more out than what you put in. Back in episode 41, I went through and I called bullshit on this, because I tell you now, I have never met a business owner who has created anything like a degree of success. In fact, I've never met anybody in any walk of life create anything of any substantial success without working their arse off. It's harder than you ever think it's going to be. It's tougher than you think it's ever going to be. The challenges are bigger than you ever thought they would be. And if you go into this thinking, you know what, if I can be smart enough, if I can work smart enough, somehow I can get away with not going through the discomfort, not going through the pain, and not working hard. I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen. And this may or may not be the time that you get your wake-up call. The alarm bell is ringing, it is going off. And I'm telling you now, if you're sitting back and you're not creating the success that you want in life or business, and you're also trying to balance some work-life concepts, and you're trying not to work too hard, and you're trying to work a 4-hour work week and bollocks like this, it's not surprising you've not had the success that you haven't had yet. But here's the thing, it's so rewarding, because when you do what others don't do, when you're willing to go through what others are not willing to go through, that's when you get the results, that's when you get ahead. Do you have to work hard? Yes, 100%. Do you have to work smart? Of course you fucking do. My problem is not the concept of working smart and hard, it's that conventional wisdom says work smart, not hard. And somehow that gets you thinking that when you're working hard, you're not doing the right things. And when you're working smart, you are doing the right things. And the bottom line is you need to be working smart and you need to be working hard. Right now, given what we're going through, given what we've gone through in this country, but across the world, it's never been more important to make sure that you're efficient and you're effective, but it's never been more important that you roll up your sleeves and you get dug in. It is tough out there right now for many business owners. And I tell you now, winter, autumn, going into winter really could bring another really tough spell. In fact, in many countries around the world, we are already experiencing the worst recessions we've ever had on record. At the very least, we're experiencing incredibly bad recessions. They are threatening much more in my own country, across America, across Europe, and I'm sure across whatever country you're listening from right now as well. It could get really dark and really hard as we go into autumn and into winter. And therefore, I wanted to repeat the message of episode 41. I'm going to hand over to my previous self from back there, because it's never been more relevant to roll up your sleeves and work hard. But of course, you've got to be smart. You've got to do what works. You've got to make sure you're doing the stuff that gets you the result that you need right now. So as we go into tougher times into this world, I want to make sure that you're toughening up and you're going in with the right mindset, the right headspace, the right work ethic. And that is really simple. Yes, you've got to make sure you're working smart and doing the things that count, doing the things that matter, doing the things that are important, that get you the majority of the results that you're looking for right now. But you're going to have to work your ass off, and you may have to work harder than you've ever worked before, even if you feel you've worked your ass off up until now. It could get tough. It could get dark, but I promise you this, if you're willing to keep swinging, if you keep fighting, if you keep pushing, if you keep stepping up, stepping forward, if you're tenacious and persistent, you will get through this, and you will get through this on top. You may even find that you dig into some inner strength that takes you to new levels, and you continue to grow your business even when you see many businesses around you starting to fail. Whatever we go through right now, it's going to make us stronger. If you dig in and you lean in, when you come out on the other side of this, you're going to have developed calluses and muscles that you didn't have before, and they're going to serve you massively once the economy starts opening up and once things start to get a little bit better. It's a win-win-win solution. Roll up your sleeves, get stuck in. I'm going to hand over to myself from the past. I will see you next time. I sometimes am rude, and I sometimes say that the work hard, not smart ethic is mostly sold by lazy people to lazy people as some kind of excuse for not rolling up their sleeves and not doing what it takes in order to get results. I might not be quite as rude as that in this particular episode, but the bottom line is this. Of course I'm going to call bullshit on this. Nothing ever, no one ever has ever achieved anything of greatness without having to work their arse off for it. You know this to be true. Whether it's an autobiography you've read, someone you know, someone you've met, whatever it might be, the truth of the matter is this: to create anything of any real substance requires sacrifice, requires dedication, requires commitment, requires hard work. Now, I wish it wasn't true. I wish that somehow there was a magic bullet, there was an easy way, a quick way, that somehow I could have everything without having to work hard for it. That somehow I could have something for nothing, or something for next to nothing. Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, was a massive success. And whilst I'm not knocking any of the strategies in that book, the reason it was such a success is because people bought into the notion that somehow they could have this thriving life. They could have this, have everything and somehow only have to work 4 hours a week. In other words, lazy fuckers the world over bought that book. I've got it on my shelf, so I'm going to call myself out on that as well. I'm not insulting Tim Ferriss. I'm not insulting anybody. The bottom line is really simple. If there is a shortcut on offer, if someone is promising us a magic pill, we are like moths to a candle. We can't get enough of it. It's the magic bullet diet, you know? It's the just spend enough money on my blueprint, on my program, on my get rich quick, on my only have to work 4 hours in order to create an unbelievable life for yourself. You know, buy this and then you can have all of that. As if somehow the rules of nature don't apply, that somehow the laws of causality don't exist in this world, that somehow physics no longer exists, that maybe physics is somehow suspended in the kind of new reality of the world of business that we work in, which is I can get more out than I put in. It is physically not possible. It does not exist. The universe does not work on that level. I cannot put peanuts in and get gold bullion coming out the back end. I don't give a fuck how smart I'm working, how smart I am, or how smart my guru is. The bottom line is really simple. You have to work hard. Now, I'm not saying you don't get to live the dream. I'm not saying you can't have a 4-hour work week. I'm just saying you're not going to create a 4-hour work week working 4 hours a fucking week, right? You're going to create that kind of lifestyle by working your ass off. When you look at people who work 1 day a week, or maybe just work a few hours a day, or whatever it might be, have 6 months off the year, these people do not typically start their lifestyle like that and create that lifestyle from nothing and then get to have that lifestyle. There's a story that goes in there. There's a story of the graft, the hard work, the sacrifice, the long hours. You might look at Branson in his fucking hammock, in his videos and stuff, and, read his autobiography, and you'll see the hundreds of hours that he worked, the 100 hours he worked per week, in his earlier businesses, the rejection he had to face. You look at any athlete, as if an athlete could somehow compete for gold medal and doing 1 hour training a week or less, and yet we're suckers for it. We want it to be true, and we buy it all day long. The 7-minute workout, the 30-second fitness cardio program, the only have to train for 15 minutes a day, 3 days a week for 2 months, 3 months, and you'll have these amazing results, blah, blah, blah. Drink this shit, eat this fucking poison, and somehow you can have miraculous results. We are gluttons for it. And yet you go and look at all the people that we revere. You go and look at all your idols, all your role models, and none of them created what they've got by doing it that way. No athlete got a gold medal by not working hard. They didn't find some cheat code that meant they only had to go and train at the track for half an hour, 3 times a fucking week. They dedicated their entire existence, their entire life to their sport, to their body, to their nutrition, to their health. They were so dedicated and focused, and they sacrificed so much to even be in the running of getting a gold medal, let alone even being in with a shot of winning one. And yet somehow we still ban this bullshit around in business like it's wisdom, like we're some kind of fucking sage, Oh no, work smart, not hard. Working hard is the way of the mug. Working smart is the way of the intelligent, the ascended entrepreneur. Give me a break, will you, right? So of course you have to bloody well work smart. That goes without saying. My problem with these sayings, just like the one I had last week and went on a bit of a rant about, which is, the profit is sanity and turnover is vanity, and I call bullshit on that one. My problem is not with kind of some of what they're saying, it's the other half of what they're saying. So when someone turns around and says profit is sanity, turnover is vanity, it's not saying, I'm not disagreeing that profit's not important, but what I'm going to call bullshit on is somehow you're disregarding, revenue, turnover. And I'm going to call bullshit on that. And I did call bullshit on that. And if you want to hear me call bullshit on that, go and check out last week's podcast on it. But work smart, not hard is exactly the same thing. I have no problem with people saying work smart. I have absolutely no problem with that. And sometimes people misinterpret what I'm saying, that somehow I'm this just grind and grind and grind and just beat your head against a brick wall for hard enough and long enough and somehow you'll become a millionaire. That's not what I'm saying at all. The truth of the matter is I absolutely buy into working smart. You have to work smart. There's no way around it. I spend my whole life trying to help entrepreneurs and business owners work smarter, to do things better, easier, to find quicker ways of doing things. But it's never going to compensate for not working hard. So my problem with this work smart, not hard is not the work smart bit, it's the not hard bit that I have a problem with. The phrase literally tells you, don't work hard. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. You know this. I don't even have to spell this out. And yet I seem to have to. But it's so bloody obvious, right? You have to work smart and you're going to have to work hard. If the saying was, work hard and work smart, or work smart and work hard, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. I think it's so subliminal, this concept of work smart, not hard. It's so pervasive with coaches, mentors, books. It's become like a universal meme now. Work smart, not hard. And then that goes in unconsciously. And then when you find yourself working hard, there's a part of you that feels like you shouldn't be working hard, that somehow it's detrimental to what you're trying to achieve by working hard. Or you're just feeling hard done by because you shouldn't have to work hard. All these fuckers out there on social media, all these gurus out there telling you to not work hard, right? And yet you're sitting there and you're working hard, so you must be some kind of loser, right? You must be some kind of idiot, right, that can't make it work. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The bottom line is really simple. Working hard is what makes working smart work. Also, the reverse is true. You could say working smart is what makes working hard work. So in other words, of course you can go out there, work your ass off and get no results. You can go out there like a blind chicken with its head cut off and run around bashing yourself into walls all day long, doing nonsense all day long. And of course, you're never going to be successful. Equally, of course, you could work super, super smart, but not actually do anything with that super smart working. And of course, you're not going to achieve anything. So it's the working hard that powers the working smart, or it's the working smart that makes the working hard work. So the two things have to go together. This is bleeding obvious. You knew this before I started. And yet the reason I keep calling bullshit on this, I genuinely, truly believe that there are these extreme polarized views out there in business. And I think it's very confusing for small business owners to know what they should be doing, or more importantly, to beat themselves up when they seem to not be fitting some kind of mold. So the two camps out there are the grind, the hustle, 100-hour work weeks, get up at 5 a.m, sleep less, sleep faster, as Arnold Schwarzenegger says. And then you've got the other side here, which is, the 4-hour fucking work week bullshit, right? So you're looking at this stuff, and we're in this place where we're thinking, right, so, if I'm working hard, like if I'm working my 50, 60 hours a week, I'm obviously doing something wrong because Tim Ferriss tells me I can do it on 4 hours a week. Equally, if I'm working, 30, 40 hours a week, or maybe, I'm a mum and I also am an entrepreneur and have my own business, and maybe I can only give 25 hours a week to my business, but now I'm buying into the other stuff, maybe like Gary Vaynerchuk or whatever it might be, and these guys are hustle and grind and everything else, and then we're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm only giving 25 hours a week to my business, so, I'm not good enough in some way. I'm not good enough at my business. Or the mum then starts to put in the 50, 60 hours a week because she thinks she has to, or even 80 hours a week. She drops the ball on being a mum, a good mum, inverted commas, by her standards, not by mine. And then she feels bad about that. The truth of the matter is, when you really scratch beneath these people, so you scratch beneath the surface of Tim Ferriss, he's not really advocating not working hard. What he's advocating is how you can outsource things and streamline your workflows, etc., to give yourself a entrepreneurial lifestyle. But when you read his book, there's no way you're going to create the 4-hour work week without working a lot more hours to create it. Or if you're only doing 4 hours a week, it's going to take you a fucking long time to get there. Equally, you look at Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's there about hustle and grind, and he's all about working harder and, people being lazy and everything else. When you consume enough of his content, you absolutely realize this guy also does value, his downtime, does take care of his health and everything else. But what happens is we get these snippets, and we get these little memes, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, or we go and see a chat or talk to someone for, we hear him speak for an hour or something, and they're talking about work hard and step up and fight for what you want and everything else, okay? And potentially I'm one of those people. You come and hear me talk, you could definitely hear me beating the fight harder drum, drive harder, push harder, don't give up, don't give in, stand up, do what it takes. You're definitely going to hear me say that on certain occasions. You take it out of context, and suddenly you're not taking care of your health, you're not taking care of your family, suddenly you're doing 100 hours a week, but you're tired, you're sleep deprived, you're not focused, you're not efficient anymore because you can't be if you're sleep deprived, and it all goes to rat shit, but you think you're doing the right thing because you heard some guru or you read in a book somewhere, hustle, grind, whatever it might be. The truth matters is equally, you try and do the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, you cut your hours back and wonder why fucking nothing happens, right? I mean, like, nothing happens. So it's really simple, I'm a bit of a man of science, and I'm a man of philosophy, and I'm a man of logic, as well as many other facets to me. And that side of me, it's obvious, right? Causality, cause and effect, energy. What goes in comes out. You can't get more out than what you put in. In fact, if you look at all energy, the idea is you put a certain amount of energy in, you will always get less out, okay? It's because some of that energy gets dissipated, whether it means heat or light or friction or whatever it might be. So you lose some of that energy, which is why when you put a lot of energy out into the world, you don't always get the amazing results that you think you're going to get, because actually some of that energy naturally is dispersed. So Tony Robbins, I heard him say once, that if you want to get like an 80% result, you've got to put like a 95 or whatever, 100% result in. I'm paraphrasing him. If I got it wrong, Tony, I apologize, but I'm paraphrasing him. But basically, if you want a 50% result, you've got to be putting in like 70%. If you want a 70% result, you're putting like 90%. This for me just, goes to support what I'm saying about what we understand about everything it is to be a human being in this realm of science and everything else, which is if you want a great result out, you have to put in a greater than great effort in. Working smart just means you're being as efficient as you possibly can. So you could argue that, you take a 1970s American muscle car, it's got 5 liters and whatever it might be, but produces no real power. I don't mean to upset anyone if you're watching this in America. I also love muscle cars, but they're deeply inefficient. Big, massive engines just throw more cubic inches at it, right, to get more power. Equally, you go to Japan, for example, and they're pulling out engines which are a fraction of the size, producing more power. One is super efficient, one isn't very efficient. Does this make sense? So working smart makes you really efficient with your working hard. So if you had a really terrible energy converter, you'd put 100% energy in, you get 50% energy out or 50% result out. That'd be very inefficient. Working smart would be the equivalent of you putting 100% in and getting more like 80 or 90% out, maybe even 95% out. The smarter you work, the more bang for your buck you're going to get for the hard work that you put in. So once again, my problem isn't with the idea of working smart. I think working smart is absolutely essential. And I think just working hard is a mug's game. But I also think it's an absolute terrible concept to go down the work smart, not hard route, because I think you'll be so disappointed. You might not be as tired or worn out, but your results are going to be no better. So I want you to look at your life and look at your business, and I want you to think for a moment, right? Are you being as efficient as you could be, as effective as you could be? In other words, are you working smart enough? Are you literally like the guy with the pickaxe and he's just banging away at this mine all day long? And actually, if you took a little bit of time off from wielding the axe for a while, you could build some kind of implement or tool that could do the job 3 times faster, and therefore you'd ultimately overtake yourself. Okay? So are you being inefficient and ineffective with how you're doing your business? That's one really good question to ask yourself, because if you are, then you need to smarten up your act. Equally, really be honest with yourself, brutally so, and ask yourself, are you working hard enough? Are you really working hard enough for your objectives that you want? So if you want to create £1 million plus business, if you want to create an amazing 6-pack or abs or fitness or what it might be, an incredible relationship, if you're trying to build anything of any real substance, are you genuinely putting in as much as you think you should, or as much as is needed in order to get that incredible result? Think about the people who ultimately win. Think about the people who create the multi-million pound or even billion-pound companies. Think about the athletes that win the medals and the gold medal. Think about the actors that get the Oscars. Think about the actors that even get a starring role in a film in the first place. Think about anyone in sport. Think about your football heroes. Think about your music legends, your role models, whoever they are, and look behind the scenes. Look at what they did and look at the amount of effort and look at the sacrifice and the commitment they put in order to get the result that makes them a hero of yours in the first place. And then ask yourself, given what you're working on, given what you're working towards and what you're trying to create, are you working hard enough? There are no rules on what kind of life you should create or how big your business should get. I always say this, success is success defined by you. It's on your terms. But if what you're trying to create is significant enough, you're never going to achieve it just by somehow trying to get more effective and more efficient. If you're only putting 50% in, even if you were 100% efficient with that energy, so even if you were working as smart as humanly possible, you're as efficient and as effectively as possible, you can only get 50% returns. You can't get 60, 70, 80% returns. It doesn't work like that. I know it, and let's be honest, you know it. Also, the people out there that are selling the magic bullets, selling the easy way, the lazy way, the super fast way, the magic way, the physics defying way of achieving anything in life, they know it as well. But they also know that secretly we're a little bit tired and we're a little bit worn out. and we're full of dreams and ambitions and hopes. And you know what? There's a little part of us that is also a little bit lazy. And there's a little part of us that's still that child that somehow thinks they can have their cake and eat it. And there's a little part of us, that innocence, that says, but I'm a nice person, I'm a good person. Surely I deserve to have this amazing result. And the bottom line is, it makes us absolute suckers for buying into this bullshit all day long. So join me in calling bullshit on the work hard, not smart concept. It's bandied about, maybe even you've said it yourself, and hopefully I have just given you 20 minutes of reasons as why you need to stop saying it, you need to stop thinking it, and to understand that you do need to work hard. You're gonna have to graft, you're gonna have to hustle and grind, as our American friends would say, but of course you need to be smart as well, because working smart is what makes working hard work, and working hard is what makes working smart work. It's obvious, and yet I find myself increasingly having this rant. Okay, thank you guys once again. Thanks for giving me your time. I'm well aware that there are many people out there right now vying for your time and your attention. So once again, I do not take it lightly that you have chosen to spend this 20 minutes with me. I've enjoyed being a part of your life. Take this concept forward. Go and make of your business and of your life what you want. Make sure you do it on your terms, and always just be a little bit skeptical of these universal memes that are bandied about as business bullshit. If you are a business owner and you've yet to hit 100K in turnover, then get yourself onto my 6-figure fast track webinar. It's a resource I've created specifically with a 5-figure business owner in mind, and specifically for those business owners that want to take their 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 or 60,000 pound businesses to 100K in revenue or more in the next 12 months or less. Get yourself onto that 6-figure fast track. It is absolutely categorically a bullshit free zone. I share with you the 6-figure mindset you need to have in place, the 6-figure model that you need to create for yourself, and the 6-figure day-to-day methodology that you need to be running in order to hit 100K in revenue or more within the next 12 months or less. Completely free of charge. It's waiting for you right now. Go and get yourself plugged into that 6-figure fast track. You'll find it at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. I'll drop the link in the descriptions below. I look forward to seeing you on that. And again, I look forward to seeing you back on this podcast very, very soon. And until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.